Hey everybody, so I had promised that I was going to do a video going over the different meridians that you can tap on, and like I had mentioned in earlier videos, you don't have to, tap on all of them. The whole purpose of, like, for anybody that has any experience with the world of tapping, usually they have you go through the entire now I can't think of the word that I'm looking for, but the whole thing where it's like you tap everywhere. You tap on the inner eye and the outer eye, underneath those, under the lips, like on the chin. Then you've got some points right here in a collarbone, and then under the arm, right, and then a lot of times one that's skipped is like straight through like the breast or the pec. It's like right underneath, like right here on this rib, if you can see that okay. That one will often be missed. And then they'll actually get one right here, and usually you'll start right here. But the whole purpose of doing, oh, and plus then there's some places on the head, and so you'll just like tap all over your head. The whole purpose of doing that is because the meridians that are addressed on that whole thing are the most common to where there's energy that's going to be stored from traumatic events or that need to be addressed. And so that's why those are all tapped on, and it's meant to simplify the process, but in a way I think it makes it actually more complicated, because honestly you don't need to tap in all those places. And so what I've done is I've gone through, and the other thing too that I've noticed is that, sorry, I have like an itch on my eye. The other thing that I have noticed is that they just name it, like the inside, the eyebrow, outer eye, and stuff. They're not naming the meridians that go with it. And to me, there's like benefit there, even if it's just knowing for me myself, because you're going to notice, like, okay, so the whole thing that started this was there was a doctor. He had just realized or had this understanding of how the meridians play into it. He had a patient that she was terribly anxious. She was petrified of water, and there was a session. They were at his pool, and she was sitting on the edge of the pool, but she was not in the water. She was on the edge of the pool, and they were trying to help her with this phobia about water. And so she mentioned that she was getting a really bad stomach ache. And so he's like, well, you know what? While we talk, I want you to like tap right here underneath the eyes. And it's like whichever side feels, best, but tap underneath the eye while we have this conversation. And so they did. And within just a couple of minutes, she kind of like perked up, and she's like, my stomach ache's gone. And you know what? I don't have this aversion to water that I've had my whole life. And it wasn't that she wanted to like just jump in, but the anxiety that was filling her body, that was surrounding this idea of getting the water, it was just gone. And she had not experienced that for as long as she could remember. Well, what it is this is your stomach meridian. And he recognized, hey, there's a response in her stomach. She's getting a stomach ache. And so maybe if she taps on the meridian that works with the stomach, maybe that will help it to release. And it did. Well, the whole thing is that we don't need to know all of the ones that it's going with. We can know based on what's going on, or through muscle testing, which I taught you just a couple of days ago, how you can muscle test. Or you can even just tune into your body, and you may recognize you're drawn to one particular area. And you can do the tapping based on those things. So I wanted to go over the different areas. Before I get started with that, because I don't want to forget, I want to do a webinar. I thought it was really interesting. There was somebody I talked to, she knows who she is, that I had asked her. I noticed that she hadn't entered giveaway when it was still current, and so I just messaged her on the side, and I'm like, hey, why haven't you answered it? And she told me her reason, and there was like this huge light bulb. I'm like, well, of course, that makes so much sense. And how many other people, either that's a similar reason why they didn't enter, or why they only entered one time, or whatever that was, right here. And this point is the end point of the bladder meridian. So you might actually notice from time to time, you might have some source, like some of these spots you might find are sore or tender, and that is indicating that there's some congestion of energy there. But so this is your bladder meridian. On the outside of your eye is your gallbladder meridian. And then I already mentioned underneath your eye right here is your stomach meridian. And the top of the lip underneath the nose, that is the governing meridian. The top of, or underneath the lip above the chin, that is your central meridian. Your points right here, I'm going to move my screen just a little bit. Your collarbone points right here, this is your kidney meridian. The point that's underneath, I got to do this on the other arm. The point that's underneath your armpit right here, this point that gets tapped is your spleen meridian. And then the point underneath on the bottom of your ribs right through here, that is your liver meridian right here. And it's like I've noticed a lot lately, mine's really tender. I know my liver is working really hard for me. I've been working with helping to support it to do its job, because I know I've been detoxing, and so I'm helping it, and I'm noticing that that's been more tender, and I would probably be served to do some massage right there. Okay, so right here is the small intestine meridian. I'm trying to like find a way to, I'm not used to this camera thing and which way's where, which way's up and that's okay. Small intestine meridian right there. Okay, and then on the inside of the pinky, so it's like if I have my hand like this, so the inside, like right here, that small pinky, that's your heart meridian. On the ring finger is called the triple warmer meridian. I'm gonna like mess up how to say this one. The middle finger, and honestly, I've seen this on the tip and I've seen it on the top right here. Either way, it's the pericardian meridian. And then on the pointer finger, that is the large intestine meridian. And then on the thumb, that is the lung meridian. So depending on which, where you feel drawn to, honestly, or if you were to do the muscle testing, you could do muscle testing based on, all right, is this on the head? Is it on the torso? Is it on the hand? And so for whatever thing it is that you're looking to work on, you can narrow it down that way. And then you would be able to like just go through and say, okay, is it, is it the, and I'm actually going to post this on my store for a little while, maybe a couple of weeks for the time being. And it'll be for sale for just maybe a couple of dollars. I haven't decided yet. I haven't seen anything else really like it except for maybe one other place or something, but most places just tell you the other names instead of like listing specifically the meridians with it. So I put this together because I wanted to be more specific and give the information because I just think it's a value. So let's see, one of the things that, oh, and then the other thing I wanted to tell you is you might recognize that you're drawn to tapping on either the left side. Sorry, this is my left. I don't know which is your left. So my left, so on your left side or on your right side. And so, which I think that I need to reverse that for you. But you might be drawn to tapping on one side or the other. And there is actually a very good reason for that. So with our bodies, there's a couple of different things. So with the governing and central meridians, they're like the parents of all the other meridians. So there's 14 total. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about this. So this is a 100 meeting points spot, and there's and I forgot to tell you about that one. So so there's the governing meridian that runs up and over the head and down and back up to the pubic bone, and then there's the central meridian, and I think I might have said the other one wrong. This is governing meridian, this is central meridian, and it runs from the bottom of the lip and then down to the pubic bone and meets up where the governing meridian is. Those are like the parents of all the other meridians. The other meridians are like children, and those are the two main governing and central meridians. So the governing meridian is like the father, central meridian is like the mother. Well, there's a similar thing with the left and right sides of the body. On the left side of the body, the left side of the body represents the mother, which connects to the right brain, which is the creative and nurture brain. And so, and then the right side of the body connects to the left brain, and that's the logical thinking brain. And so I am finding all of the issues that come up around my mom and things that I've struggled with, or things that are of a more feminine nature, or those kinds of things, I am drawn to do tapping on the left side of my body, because the left side is representative of the feminine. And then when it's stuff that comes up with my dad, like, you know, things that happened in the past, as far as like, you know, I got into trouble or he was yelling at me and I took that in and I stored that in a part of my body or something, then I notice I tend to want to tap on the right side. And I've never heard that taught anywhere else, but that when you feel like you need to tap something out to clear something, trust what you're feeling, because there is purpose in it. And if you don't know, then just tap at both sides at the same time, and then you've got it all. That covers it all. All right, so I'm just thinking if there's anything that I've left out. Talked about the basics of the different points that you can tap on. And I think that that is everything I wanted to really cover. I'm really looking forward to doing this webinar that I've got on my mind. It's interesting, some of it. Okay, so give you a little heads up. Even when we think and believe that we're loving ourselves, it's interesting all the things that we actually do that show that we are still not loving and accepting ourselves exactly as we are. And so I wanted to point those things out in case that they apply to you, and I wanted to be able to support you in improving that in your own life, so that you can enjoy your life even more and improve it, and not just for you. That's the thing, is that anytime that we are improving our lives for us, it automatically influences everyone around us for the good. I really am looking forward to showing a little bit more of putting the things that I've been talking about into practice, and I want to be able to show you in things that are applying to you. And in order to do that, I need to hear from you so that I can help that, and it would bless you and it would bless others, because then they would be able to see how this applies.